My name is Susan Bussell. I'm a clinical dietitian at University of Washington Medical Center. Food is very important and essential for maintaining our health, for training, and also doing our best when we are out there on the course the day of the competition. The training and competition that we're involved with actually really stresses our bodies in a lot of different ways. And when we're out there exercising, we need extra energy, our heart beats faster, our lungs work harder, and we actually produce quite a bit of heat. To perform our very, very best, we need essential nutrients. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and fluids. They are really, really important for us to do our very, very best performance. We use them in a variety of different ways, and they're actually stored in our muscles and our liver. And we keep glucose or sugar in our blood sugars, and that helps us while we're exercising. And sources of carbohydrates are grains and rice and pasta, some dairy products, and fruit and vegetables. We need protein in order to make sure that we're able to maintain our muscles while we're working out and build them up after we finish. We can actually increase these carbohydrates in our diet prior to our race by eating more of them, usually the several days before the race. And it makes sense to add a little bit more carbohydrate to your diet on those days, just because we can store them and then we can use them while we're out there on the race course. Especially for those of you who will be out on the race course greater than 2 hours. The night before the race, it's going to be really important to, again, focus on the carbohydrate-rich foods. And I have a little plate that I wanted to show you. We now want everyone to consider eating, instead of a food pyramid style, to do more of the plate method of eating. And generally when you see this plate, it's half the plate is vegetables and some fruit, quarter is protein, and quarter is starch. Well, the night before your race, you want to think about having half of your plate be full of carbohydrate-rich foods, because that's going to help build your muscles, and your liver stores of glycogen, which are carbohydrates stored, and that's going to help you perform at your very, very best. And you definitely want to include protein, you definitely want to include a little bit of vegetable, and you want to have a lot of fluids. So a couple of things about what you eat the night before. You may want to consider, how does your body do when you're out there on the run? If you feel that you're kind of at risk for maybe some GI or bowel function issues when you're out on the course, you may want to consider lower fiber type carbohydrates. Of course, we always want to do a lot of whole grains, but this is the time where maybe you might want to think about low fiber foods and cooking your vegetables instead of eating them raw if you have a problem with that. And an example of a menu might be a decent portion of maybe leaner protein. Again, fat is another thing that may be digested slowly, and that might interfere with your performance. So you want to go lean on the night before. So for example, white fish or poultry might be a good protein choice for you. And when you think about the amount you want, think about probably at least the size of a deck of cards, or even maybe 1.5 to 2 times the size of a deck of cards as far as that protein. And then in terms of starches, you want to be pretty liberal. You want to think about 1 to possibly 2 cups of starch. And in terms of the carbs, it could be pasta, it could be couscous, it could be rice, and then maybe a cup of cooked vegetables. And that would be an example of what you should eat the night before. So generally what's recommended is eating 2 to 4 hours before the competition. I think the best idea is to stick with the foods that you know that are tried and true. And that's what's great about practice. You can try to eat these foods a couple of hours before our practices and see if you tolerate them. It's just not a good idea to start a race and try brand new foods that you've never had before. So make sure whatever foods you choose, you've tried them before and they are something that you're going to tolerate well. We have some examples of foods here. So oftentimes you're thinking about having some carbohydrate foods and some protein foods and some beverages before your race. And so we have an example of oatmeal. We have some granola, 2 different kinds of granola. That would be a choice, or a bagel is another great choice. And then in terms of protein, some people can tolerate eggs, like a hard cooked egg would be a great choice, 1 or 2, or you could do a yogurt if you like that. So those all would be excellent choices for you to have. At some point you're going to run out of carbohydrate that you're storing in your body, and your blood sugars might start to drop, so you're going to want to make sure that you have carbs. So Fig Newtons, we know these work, tried and true. Lots of times what people will do is just put some in a little baggie and carry them with them. Or again, it could be another energy gel, it could be a chew, anything that you know that's going to work for you.